Right now on Tuesdays, Fox 11 News at 5. Roads are starting to reopen after the waters of Green Bay spilled onto shore, and residents are growing tired of a problem they've seen far too often this year.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News at 5.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. The latest round of severe weather brought with it area flooding caused by the rains and the strong winds shifting the water of the bay onshore.
Several roads are now back open this evening, but many residents are concerned about the lingering effects of this flooding that they've experienced. Let's go to Fox 11's Amber Luckett now, who has been to several areas that did experience that flooding. And Amber, what are the conditions like where you are right now?
Well, I'm in Suamico right now near the boat launch where a lot of these roads were washed out until about early this morning. That was also the case where I was in Oconto near the bay, where a lot of people are still dealing with severe flooding.
Yesterday was the worst I can remember all summer, and it's been terrible all summer long. But it just kept coming and coming and coming.
Residents living along the bay in Oconto are still shocked to see the standing water caused by heavy rain and wind from Monday night.
It was like in the 80s there was a high water, but I don't ever remember it like just filling up the river, and it literally just runs over the road, and then it starts filling, and then you just start scrambling because you don't know how high it's going to come.
Over the last 24 hours, a lot of the high water has slowly receded, but it's still leaving a lot of damage behind.
You can see that the neighbors have a lot of standing water in their yard, and that can't be good. I'm sure there's erosion problems. Bay Shore Road has got all kinds of problems down there off of Harbor Road. The boat landing has been closed on and off due to high water. The city is trying what they can, because when that wind blows, it's very damaging.
High water is nothing new for people living in this area. In fact, many of them say they've experienced flooding at least 5 times since the beginning of the summer.
It's a summer of being overwhelmed. When you think it's getting better, it's like, here it comes again. You know, it's just really crazy.
Due to the record-breaking amount of rain we've seen so far this year, some property owners are looking at other ways to avoid constant flooding. But in the meantime, many are just hoping the rain will stay away and things can get back to normal.
I hope it stops. We've had enough. That's it.
Just want it to be done. I mean, it's hard living like this.
Now, fortunately for the people in Suamico, a lot of them didn't get any damage to their homes, but the village administrator did tell me that some of them are actually starting to raise their homes to avoid flooding in the future. For now, reporting live in Suamico, Amber Luckett, Fox 11 News.
All right, Amber, thank you. And because of the soggy and wet ground, Hilbert High School has to move a football game for the second time this year. Friday night's Level 1 playoff game against Rossholt will now be played at Brilliant High School. That game is still set for 7 p.m.
State Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says his chamber won't debate gun reform bills being pushed by Governor Tony Evers. The governor called a special legislative session to consider the bills. Fitzgerald says he intends to convene lawmakers for the session, then immediately adjourn without debate. He says there's not enough support to take up the bills. During a stop in Green Bay this afternoon, the governor blasted Fitzgerald for his stance.
I think that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous response. He has a responsibility to let his Senate vote on this. If they vote it down, that's fine. It's not fine by me, but at least they're on the record. To stand up and say we're going to gavel in and gavel out, that is not what the people of Wisconsin expect out of their legislative leaders.
One bill calls for universal background checks. The other would allow judges to take firearms from people who are determined to be a threat to themselves or to others.
A tragic new development tonight following a plane crash in Brown County. The man who was hospitalized after a plane crashed onto his truck has died. The Brown County Medical Examiner's Office says 51-year-old Patrick Skinnard of Greenleaf died on Sunday. A De Pere man who was flying the plane died at the scene. The crash happened last Thursday evening in Ledgeview. Federal aviation investigators are still trying to figure out what caused it. Prosecutors are expected to update the case of two Shawano County brothers who are presumed dead in Missouri. Nick and Justin Diemel disappeared in July. They were on a trip related to their cattle business, including a meeting with a local farmer. Joey Nelson is charged with moving the brothers' rental truck off of his farm. Nelson is not charged with murder, but police say they did find human remains on the property. It's not clear what prosecutors are expected to announce tomorrow morning. A news conference has been scheduled for 10:30. We will update you on whatever happens on our website at fox11online.com.
President Donald Trump is facing pushback from some lawmakers after using a racially charged term to describe the impeachment inquiry. In a social media post, the president said someday, if a Democrat becomes president, the Republicans win the House, even by a tiny margin, they can impeach the president without due process or fairness or any legal rights. The president went on to say that all Republicans must remember what they're witnessing, a lynching. He finished the post by saying Republicans will win. The White House later tried to clarify the president's remarks, but not before lawmakers on both sides shared their thoughts. Some stand by the president, while others say it was inappropriate. This evening, we bring you balanced news coverage.
Well, I think to have the president classify a constitutional remedy to an unlawful, egregious act such as lynching is beneath the dignity of the office of President of the United States.
That's not the language I would use. It's very clear that what the Democrats are doing here does not go across, does not have due process. It's not fair in the process. It's not something that this House has done ever in the past.
I think that's pretty well accurate. This is a sham. This is a joke. When it's about Trump, who cares about the process as long as you get him? So, yeah, this is a lynching in every sense. This is un-American.
Yeah, but the president's not comparing what happened to him with one of our darkest moments in American history. He's just not. What he's explaining clearly is the way he's been treated by the media since he announced for president.
Meanwhile, there are signs from Washington that the scope of the impeachment inquiry is widening. The subpoenas being issued are adding up. Chief political correspondent Scott Thuman has our story.
Another day on the Hill, another witness going behind closed doors to testify in the impeachment inquiry. This time, William Taylor, the top diplomat in Ukraine. The steady pace of proceedings infuriating President Trump, tweeting Tuesday, all Republicans must remember what they are witnessing here, a lynching.
These people are sick. There's something wrong with them.
The president's frustrated. I mean, if you had to go through the 3 years that that the president's had to live through, I think that just is an example of the frustration the president feels.
While initially it seemed Democrats were racing toward an impeachment vote by Thanksgiving, now they may be pumping the brakes, extending the process toward the end of the year or longer.
We can't do this based on any set timeline. Obviously, we want to get it wrapped up as quickly as possible, but not at the expense of important information that we think we need to get.
The headlines of slowing down are piling up. As Democrats learn more, they're issuing more subpoenas, which adds time. A contrast to how fast the probe formed, only 11 days after a subpoena regarding the controversial phone calls whistleblower. It took 260 days from reports of the Monica Lewinsky affair before Bill Clinton faced an inquiry. And for Richard Nixon, it was 599 days after the Watergate break-in.
But to see this scheme developing on the side, to me, is just appalling. So I want to get to the facts. I think they are doing it in the proper way.
The Republicans are focused on process because they cannot excuse the conduct that we're seeing from the president.
In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman, Fox 11 News.
Our online question of the day is asking if you think Democrats should move forward with the impeachment investigation. Yes or no are your options. You can vote by going to fox11online.com/question. At last check, 87% said yes, they should.
The legal troubles mount for a Hollywood actress caught up in a nationwide scandal.
Lori Loughlin is facing some new charges now. Next for us tonight at 5, why she and her husband are accused of bribery. Here's Patrick.
we still have some scattered light showers moving through portions of the area, and I think that's going to continue at least for the next hour or two. And I think we'll see a few more showers pop up tomorrow afternoon. I'll show you when the sunshine returns, coming up in about 10 minutes.